So, dear students, in my previous class, I have discussed about the in-process quality control test for test and finished products quality control test for the ointments. So, today I'll talk about the in-process quality control and finished product quality control test for suppositories. So, what is the exact meaning of the in-process quality control, finished product quality control, and the total quality control? So the total quality control is it's nothing but the production of a perfect product by performing a series of measures. So then in process quality control, in this case, uh, we have to ensure that finished finished dosage forms should have uniform purity and quality within a batch and between the batches. So finished product quality control. So these tests are designed to determine compliance with the specifications, whatever the regulatory authorities specifications. So then let us talk about what exactly the suppositories and its quality control tests, both in process and finished products. The suppositories, we all know that it's a medicated solid dosage form. So which generally they are all intended for use in the rectum, vagina, and to a lesser extent urethra. So this suppository after insertion, so they soften, they melt, disperse, or uh, dissolve in the cavity fluids. So we have a small figure here, rectal suppositories, vaginal suppositories, as well as the urethral suppositories. These are the three types: rectal suppositories, vaginal suppositories, and urethral suppositories. So the suppository quality control includes in-process quality control and finished product quality control. So what are the in-process quality control tests? So there are four tests. Number one, visual examination by seeing, weight test, then leak test, density. Then finished products quality control test. So here some 9 tests are there: visual examination, uniformity of the weight, uniformity of the texture, melting point, liquefaction time or breaking time, dissolution testing, content for uniformity, disintegration, contents of packed doses forms. So in process quality control test, visual examination. Just now I talked about there are 4 tests are available under this here. Any in-process quality control test. One is the visual examination, a periodic examination for physical defects, if any, for finished suppositories. So if there is any, if you examine that for any physical defects of finished suppositories, it provides the valuable information for process monitoring. Okay, that's the important one. Then any color variation, chips or cracks or depressions and surface irregularities. So they are all evidence of problems that require definitely attention. So then generally these difficulties can be solved by machine adjustment. And weight checks. So periodic weighing of individual suppositories definitely will reveal the problems in the filling operation. So the number of sequential suppositories weighed should correspond to the number of filling nozzles. So individual weights are preferred over the averages. That means individual weights. So then what is this leak test? The quality of the seal is a parameter that can affect the stability of the product. The seal integrity is easily determined by a leak test, such as the classic vacuum dye method. Then the density test. So in this case, the density factor of various bases and drugs, so they need to be known to determine the proper weight of the ingredient to be used. So then in this case, determine the average blank weight and a mold using the suppository base. So weigh the quantity of the suppository base necessary for 10 suppositories. Say weigh 1 gram of medication, then the weight of the medication per suppository, that is B, is equal to 1 gram by 10 suppositories. That gives the 0.1 grams per suppositories. So in this case, the melt the suppository base and incorporate the medication, mix it, pour into molds, trim, and remove from the molds. So then weigh 10 grams, 10 suppositories and determine the average weight C. So then the density factor is given as B by A minus C plus P. A is the average weight of the blank, B is the weight of the medication per suppository, C is the average weight of the medicated suppository. So then finished products quality control test. Those are the four which comes under the in-process quality control test. So now let us look into finished products quality control test. So here also we have the visual examination test. That means the color and the surface characteristics of the suppositories. So they are all relatively easy to assess. And also it is important to check for the absence of fissuring, pitting, fat blooming, exudation, sedimentation, and migration of the active ingredients. So then suppositories can be observed as an intact unit and also by splitting them longitudinally. So uniformity weight, another one. Weigh 20 suppositories and calculate the average weight. First weigh all 20 suppositories and take the average weight. Then when the suppositories are weighed singly, that means individually, the deviation of the individual weight from the average weight should not exceed the limits given below. How much percentage of deviation? Suppose in case of minimum 18 suppositories you have taken, then the deviation should be plus or minus 5%. Then deviation of percentage, that is 10 per plus or minus, is for maximum 2. So then texture, uniformity texture. So uniformity of texture can be assessed by sectioning a suppository longitudinally and laterally and ensuring that each section presents a smooth uniform surface. So then melting range, that means melting point or a melting zone. So here the release rate of suppository is related to its melting point. So it is therefore critical that this test be evaluated using a non-destructive method. So a number of different techniques are used to study melting behavior, including the open capillary tube, U-tube, the drop point methods. So what are these non-destructive methods? In general, the melting point should be equal to or less than 37 degrees centigrade. A non-destructive method must be used because if the suppository is melted before a measurement is made, so that is the reason the suppository constituents may be transferred into a metastable state. So hence the melting test consists of placing a suppository on the surface of water thermostatically controlled at 37 degrees centigrade and verifying the complete melting of the suppository in a few minutes. So then second one, U-shaped capillary tube method. So determining the melting point provides a precise information for excipient control and consistency in the production for those suppositories containing soluble active principles. So this method is not suitable when the suppositories have higher powder content, which prevents the fat from sliding inside the capillary tube to give the endpoint determinations. Because of the shape of the tube, the sample can be introduced without melting and therefore effective for the evaluation of the finished products. So this is a small apparatus and diagram. Rubber, water, what are the specifications? Though here the U-tube procedure, so it is similar as good as the capillary tube method, except instead of using two open-ended capillary tubes, here we are using a U-shaped tube. The melting point can be determined by placing a small diameter wire into the mold containing the suppository melt before the uh, form solidifies. So the form is then immersed in water, then held by the wire, and the temperature of the liquid is raised slowly until the suppository slips off. The average of several measurements of the apparatus at which the sample begins to slip in the tube is the melting temperature. So drop point determination. So the drop point method gives the results which are quite similar to those obtained with the YouTube. So, but it offers the advantage of the automation. So this is a small figure, a heating system, resistance sensor, sensor number 2, then 3 sample to be placed. Fourth one is the lamp, fifth one is the furnace, sixth one sample cup, seventh one photoresistor, eighth one is collector. So here the sample to be measured is placed into a small cup which is already inside the small furnace. When the test material is heated, an opening at the bottom of the cup allows the escape of melted liquid. So the first drop to fall that interrupts a beam of light striking a photocell, and the temperature at that point is recorded as the drop point. So breaking test or liquefaction or softening time test for uh, rectal suppositories. Here also U2 partially submerged in constant temperature water bath. Then a construction of one side holds the suppositories in the tube, and then a glass rod is placed on the top of the suppository. So then the time for the rod to pass through to constrict the recorded as the softening time. Temperature should be 35.5 to 37.5 degrees centigrade. So, continue.